Hello everyone, and welcome to the lecture on strings in Python. In this lecture we'll see how to create strings. A string is a sequence of characters, and we use strings to store data. Let's see how we can create strings. So strings are created by using double quotes or single quotes. For example, we can create a string by using double quote, and then we put the string value inside the double quotes. So this is an example of a string. So here in this example, my string is inside this double quotes. So this is an example of a string. And when we run that cell, we get our string. We can also create strings by using a single quote. So we put a single quote, and then the contents of the string will be within the quote, within the single quote. This is also an example of a string. We get the same result. What if we have a double quote or a single quote within our string? Would that be a problem? Let's see. For instance, if I want to say I am here, notice here my string is I am here, and I have enclosed that in single quotes. But if I run this, I'm going to get an error. Let me run it and show you. It says invalid syntax. That's because you see here at the beginning I have a single quote, and then I have the letter I, and then another single quote. That means this is my string. This is one string, and then so Python is confused with this. So I have one string here, and then this part is giving an error. So Python is reading this as one string, and then this part is producing an error. The second part is producing an error. So in order to avoid such kind of error, we can enclose a single quote within a double quote, or a double quote within a single quote. So instead of this, I can say I can enclose my string in a double quote and include my single quote inside the string. So instead I can say this, I am here. So this is perfectly fine. I am here. So the same is true for double quotes. For instance, we can say he said, where is he? So in this case, I have a double quote within my double quote, and if I run this, I'm going to get an error. So for the same reason as we saw here, so Python reads this as one string since it's enclosed within those double quotes. However, this part doesn't have a beginning with a quote, so that produces an error. You see here it says invalid syntax. So in this case, we can enclose this with a single quote. So instead we can say he said, and then we can include our double quote now. Where is he? Then we can enclose that. So this is perfectly fine. So we can alternate by including a single quote within a double quote, or vice versa, to create strings with quotes. And another way of doing this is by using what is known as the escape character. So this backslash is called the escape character in Python and many other languages. So what is this escape character? Let me show you an example. So here we have I am here. I can also say I and then am here. So this means if I execute this, I'm not going to get an error. Why is that? So Python treats this escape character as ignore the next character. So this means ignore the next character. That's why we're not getting any error. So this backslash means escape character. So slash apostrophe or single quote means ignore the next character. So anything followed by this backslash means ignore the next character. So I am here, we can write it like that. So same thing here. Instead of this double quote, we could have also said he said, and then this backslash, it means ignore the next character, which is ignore the double quote. And same thing here, we can include another backslash, and that's perfectly fine too. So this backslash, there are also other characters. We learn about how we can introduce some other characters using a backslash. Great. So in the above examples, all of our strings are on a single line. What if we have a string that's on more than one line? In that case, we use triple double quotes or triple single quotes. We use those for writing or creating multiple line strings. Let me give you an example. So triple quote, we can say this is an example of a string which is written on multiple lines, and so on. So this is how we write a multi-line string. We use triple double quotes, or we can also use triple single quotes. So this slash n means new line. So here you see this is an example of a string, and then we have a new line. So this slash n means new line, which is written on multiple lines. And then we have slash n again. That means new line. Remember the escape character? This means new line. New line. And we have another one is slash t. This means tab. Tab means space. And we can also create multiple line strings by enclosing them within triple single quotes. This is also a string written on multiple lines, and it is absolutely fine. So if we run this also, we get the same result. So this is how we can write multiple line strings. What if we have adjacent strings? For instance, what if I say this is an adjacent string? So here I have what? This is one string, this is another string, 3 and 4. We have 4 strings here. So if we execute this, we get one string. So we get one string. This is an adjacent string. That's because adjacent strings are concatenated to make a single string. This is also important to remember, that if we have adjacent strings, they will be concatenated to make a single string. Great.